Hello and welcome to the Astrology forecast of week 38. We're breaking things down into bite-sized pieces by week. See how things go. Have you liked or commented yet?
Anyone? Did it work? Anyone?
So this week is a bit of a nothing burger. We've got a repeat of an aspect from August on September 17. Then we have a bit of midweek shenanigans before we round out the week with a half moon. So the first aspect is September 17, where we have Venus in Leo square Jupiter in Taurus. And this is a repeat of August 22nd, where we have the planet of love and pleasure, which is Venus, and the planet of expansion and growth, which is Jupiter. And again, with square aspects, it's not always about power struggles or clashing agendas. In this instance, it's really more around the complementary energies. So I won't go through it again. I'll link it in the description and you can go back at your leisure. But as we discussed last month, this aspect brings a mix of excitement. It's really about enjoying life's pleasures and embracing our creativity, trying to find fulfillment in our connections.
Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone seen this before?
Okay, so the week really kicks off on Tuesday when the Sun and Neptune face off. We can be in for a wild midweek ride, and that's because our minds can get clouded with unrealistic ideals or self-deception, which I'll explain in a second, but because of this brain fog, it might be difficult to make clear decisions. This opposition can blur the boundary between reality and illusion, and that is thanks to Neptune's influence. It's like one of those old school funhouse mirrors that distorts your body. And because Neptune is in Pisces, this is further exaggerated given she's linked to the imagination, our dreams, and the spirit world. But you also have the Sun, which is our sense of self, stationing in Virgo, which, as we have already discussed this month, it is trying to emphasize grounding and practicality. What you might find is that Virgo's organization and improvement mantra does its job too well, and instead categorizes and assembles the distortion from that funhouse mirror for your attention. And we think, oh, I have to do something with all this illusion. And you know deep down, it's just imaginary issues rather than real problems. And because most people are generally good, we all have this sense of martyrdom, as if we are not deserving because there is some karma associated with good and bad, which is often a byproduct of living in lack. So to balance the scales, we suffer voluntarily from some inner guilt associated with our hidden desires. It's as if we are required to atone for some sin. Think of it as a test because on the 23rd, the Sun enters Libra, but I'll have more to say about that on the next video. When we have a look at the energies in conflict, it's best not to think of this opposition as a zero-sum game or a forced choice. That is, I have to have one or the other, because ultimately you'll need to concentrate on both things in order to achieve some kind of internal peace. Or you'll have to accept a level of satisfaction in either one or more areas that is short of what you want. What this is at the end of the day is just to be mindful on that midweek hump day where everyone's getting antsy, and if you find it difficult to see yourself objectively or make decisions clearly, you might come off as feeling hypercritical against your own usual principles, which others will really pick up on. Things will change by the end of the week though. On On September 22nd, we have the first quarter moon in Sagittarius. And this is an aspect that occurs when the moon reaches a 90-degree angle with the sun. And what it does is create a square aspect between them. This phase typically happens around a week after the new moon. And it marks an interesting point in the lunar cycle, given that the Archer is pushing us to be productive from the new moon in Virgo focus, which was back on September 14. And that focus was...
Anyone?
Finding enhancements and solutions in areas related to work and routine, and
Anyone?
self-care and wellness through
Anyone?
self-care and wellness through healthy habits. Remembering that a first quarter moon is also called a half moon because the sun's rays illuminate exactly 50% of the lunar surface, and it rises around midday and is also visible in the sky. This 50% can represent a completion rate of the primary and secondary aspects, and coupled with the mutable Archer, represents adaptability and flexibility. This perfectly reflects the Archer's deep-rooted desire for change. Sagittarius is encouraging us to explore those intentions. They want the freedom for your ideas to roam. But as anyone knows, consistency is a challenge for Sagittarians. And when they don't follow through, we see it as being flaky. So if your new moon in Virgo intentions are big, consider letting them brew for a while longer. If they are small and manageable, we might be able to get away with an under-promise but over-delivery to ourselves. Be transparent about your current responsibilities, balanced against those of the latter, so others can manage their expectations accordingly. As I alluded to before, tomorrow all things balance. It's an equinox occurring in Libra, so it's really something to consider, but we'll talk about that more next week. So that brings us to the end of week 38. Like and subscribe.
Come on, do it. Lay it out right here. Do it.
Cheers.